Norfolk Mayor Vincent Thomas, City Manager Julian Hurst, the City Attorney, and Assistant City Managers, along with Virginia Beach Mayor Henry McCoy, City Manager George Hanbury, came here to Richmond, to the state capitol, to discuss water with Governor Dalton and try to convince him to keep the state of emergency in effect.
Before the meeting started, Norfolk Mayor Vincent Thomas said he really wasn't sure why the delegation was called here to Richmond. But after more than an hour of what he termed frank discussion with the governor, Thomas said things had not really changed. Norfolk still contends there's a state of emergency, and the city says it would like to see the governor do more to help. But apparently the governor is leaning towards lifting the state of emergency, which worries Thomas because of implications that might have in Suffolk's suit against the city of Norfolk. The meeting with the legislators on Wednesday will probably have a heavy bearing on Dalton's decision regarding the emergency order.
But despite the state of emergency, the drilling of the wells, the court suits and all, in the long run, the only thing that will end the water crisis is long rain. Mike Deason, Area 10 Eyewitness News at the state capitol in Richmond. Before the meeting, Norfolk Mayor Vincent Thomas said he had no idea why the governor called the Tidewater delegation to Richmond. But Dalton aide Charles Davis said later that the governor wanted to meet with representatives of the localities that originally asked him to issue the emergency order.
And hear the very latest information and thinking that they had. And so he called them, and that resulted in the meeting.
There are indications that Dalton wants to lift the emergency order, but Norfolk Mayor Thomas is steadfast in his position that an emergency still exists and that it makes no sense to lift the order.
There certainly seems no logical reason to say that there's not an emergency.
But Virginia Beach Mayor Henry McCoy says he understands the problems that the governor has to deal with.
I think his bottom line problem is, what is an emergency order? How long does an emergency order stay in effect?
Although the governor realizes that the water situation is still critical, he's beginning to question whether a state of emergency still exists. He'll use input from the mayors at today's meeting in Richmond and from state legislators at the meeting next Wednesday to determine just how long the executive order on emergency can stay in effect. Mike Deason, Area 10 Eyewitness News at the state capitol in Richmond.